Hello, everyone. My name is Keri Cornman. I'm the grants manager here at MDAR, and I work on various state and federal grants as well as some procurement. I'm here today to talk to you about some grant tips, and my contact information is presented right now. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Next slide. So my first big piece of information and tip would be to thoroughly review the RFR document. The RFR stands for Request for Response. Sometimes you might see RFA, Request for Applications, or even RFP, Request for Proposals. This document will have all of the information, instructions, expectations, and context for the grants that you're applying to, including eligible and ineligible project types, allowable and unallowable costs, match requirements, timelines, reporting requirements, pretty much everything encompassing the grant. So that's my first big piece of advice. Make sure you understand all of the sections of the RFR. And if you don't, reach out to the project manager or program contact. That contact information will be on the first page of any MDAR RFR and will be listed on any RFR somewhere on the document itself. Project managers cannot give you advice in completing or filling out your application, but they can answer any questions you may have regarding the RFR or the program itself. Think of the RFR as your roadmap for the project. Next slide, please. My next tip, check off every element of the evaluation criteria. This would actually be the most important piece of advice for any grant application, I would say, as this is the basis of scoring for basically all grant applications at MDAR and most federal grant applications. If the RFR is the roadmap, the evaluation criteria is the GPS, giving you step-by-step directions in conjunction with the application form. The evaluation criteria is separate from the application form in the RFR, but as you're filling out the application form or template, have that criteria readily available to you so you can check off each criteria as you go. Even if you have to physically print out this evaluation criteria and check one off as you go, that'll help you make sure you fulfilled every requirement of the application. Next slide, please. Some grant applications may require extra documentation beyond just filling out the application template, like proof of permits, resumes, maps, etc. And keeping track of all of that may be difficult. This may be outlined in the evaluation criteria section, but sometimes additional documentation requirements may not be included in the evaluation criteria and instead are outlined in the application submission instructions section. This most commonly occurs when additional documentation is required as a prerequisite of a program and is required for the project to even begin. Most RFRs will include this in the application submission instructions section. Make sure you carefully review that section to determine what all is needed for your application package, including additional required documentation and how to submit your finalized application, whether it's via email or some other submission portal or by mail. If an application requires a signature for submission, make sure that's included before you submit your final application package. Make sure all application documents, including the application package and additional documentation, if applicable, are clear and that evaluators are able to read the entire package. If you're scanning documents and attaching them to a PDF application package, make sure those scans are very clear and legible. If you are handwriting responses on an application package, ask someone to read over the application to make sure everything is crystal clear for an evaluation team to review. Allow yourself time to submit your application. Be mindful of technological issues that may occur, postage delays, or any other circumstance that may add time to the submission process. If you're sending via email, make sure you don't send it last minute. Next slide, please. You'll want to review the list of eligible and ineligible projects in the RFR. This is a quick way to see if you're on track with the project you're thinking about applying for, or even to get ideas for projects you could consider that you may not have prior. You want to express your need. This is how you'll explain to evaluators why your project is a good investment. A plus is to back up your need with data and facts. For example, implementing this project will increase my sales, productivity, or efficiency, whatever benchmark you're trying to measure, by this exact amount. That shows an evaluation team, okay, this project is fulfilling this specific gap by successfully expressing that project need. You want to have clear goals and objectives. This will show an evaluation team that you have a focused and well thought out project. Think about your framing. Instead of, with this money, I can buy this equipment, which I need. If you say, by achieving goals 1, 2, and 3 with this funding, I expect to see results of 1, 2, and 3. This also goes into the next slide. You want to show you can track and or measure your project results. If you have a system in place that shows you're going to track the success of the project over the life of the project, that's going to look more appealing to an evaluation team than a project that just simply says they expect to achieve results. From my understanding, several grant programs don't have reporting requirements once the funding is received, but showing an evaluation team, hey, we're invested in seeing positive results, is really going to make you stand out to an evaluation team and against other applications. You want to be clear and concise. Don't add what I call fluff to a project, which is maybe a lot of words and sentences to kind of make an application seem longer. Evaluators review dozens of applications, and you just have to tell them what you're asking for. Don't make them search to find your answers. This can also go with what I previously said about goals and objectives. Don't bog yourself down with too many because you think it'll look better on an application or give you an upper hand. That typically isn't the case. An evaluation team wants to see that you have a clear, thought out, and focused project. So if you have 1 to 3 clear goals, it shows a clear, concise project. You want to make sure that you keep the content of your proposal positive. You don't want to add like any negative personal comments. Make sure that you stick to the main objectives of the application. Make sure you provide detailed timelines and financial plans. Make sure to take your time to provide these accurate timelines, and make sure you provide all documentation in the RFR that the RFR is requesting. Leaving out documents is the quickest way for a score to go down. So that wraps up my general tips for grant applications. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is on that first slide, and I appreciate you listening to our video today. Thank you.